That's Enough Out of You, a weekly podcast where you'll hear the truth, or at least a closer version of the truth than most of the bullshit that's out there. Here are your hosts, Bill Rader and Sean Kane.
Welcome to That's Enough Out of You. I am your host, Bill Rader.
And I'm Sean Kane.
And this is a weekly podcast where we talk about almost everything. We talk about sports. We talk about history. We talk about sports history. We talk about important historical figures, Sean.
Like JFK, like MLK, like RFK.
All of the initials from history. If you don't go by your initials, we don't talk about you. We also cover true crime or organized crime. We have episodes on the mafia of all different shapes and sorts and whatever.
The Irish mob, the Jewish mob, the Italian mob.
If you're a mob, we'll talk about you. And then we also cover things like pop culture, movies and TV shows and music. We're actually going to do one today on pop culture. We're going to do comic book movies. So pretty much anything we feel like talking about.
Because it's our show.
It is. It's our show. And it's a kind of a big day for us, for our show. As we record this episode, which I think will be either our second or third episode. I'm not sure what order they'll come out. But our first episode was released today on Apple Podcasts and everywhere else you can get your podcasts, Spotify, Amazon. So if you are listening to this, hopefully you've already subscribed. But if you haven't,
remember, hit that like button, hit subscribe, share that podcast, give us a review, hit the notification bell to get updated on future episodes.
Give us a 5-star rating, give us a good review, and that helps us out. It helps the podcast, it helps us grow. So
and also email us any feedback, good or bad.
That's right. We have an email address, that's enough out of you show at gmail.com. That's all one word. There's no punctuation or anything in there. It's just that's enough out of you show at gmail.com. So yeah, big day for us today, Sean. How you doing? You
good,
excited?
Buddy. Yeah, great day, buddy.
Yeah.
Long time coming.
We've been working on this for a while, and it's nice to see finally getting it out there, getting some folks getting it in front of some people, getting some ears and eyes and whatever other orifice people have.
And we're getting some good feedback already, Bill.
That's great. Yeah, it's exciting. So this is going to be a really fun episode. We actually have a very special guest with us today from the Garlic Jar podcast. We have Jenna Riley with us.
Hello,
Hi,
Jen.
guys.
Hey,
What's
Jenna.
up?
It's very weird to be on the side of the stage here.
I know. Usually I'm on the other side. And you're interviewing me.
Yeah, no, I'm so glad to see you guys, branching out with your own podcast. It's going to be a good one.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. Thanks for being our very first guest. Appreciate
You're
it.
super welcome.
And
I'm excited.
Yeah, we are too. So Garlic Jar podcast, give Garlic Jar a quick plug because that Sean's been on that podcast a number of times.
Yeah, so Garlic Jar Podcast Show, we're available on anywhere you can get a podcast from. We've been doing this for about 2 years. We started during COVID, and we typically do like pop culture, fun, special episodes, that kind of stuff. Matt loves to do Halloween things, so we're going to start ramping up our fall specials coming up in the works here. Yeah, we're on pretty much all the social medias, garlicjar@gmail.com. garlicjarmedia@gmail.com is our email address. And yeah, we've been putting out content for about 2 years now.
Excellent. So make sure you go out there, listen to Garlic Jar, same thing, subscribe, rate, review. It's a great podcast. I've been listening to it for a while. You guys do
it's a fun
some
time.
great stuff. Yeah.
Thanks.
Me too.
Thanks.
All right. So we are set today to talk about, I think this is one of our favorite topics. I know the three of us have been to see a number of the movies that we're going to be talking about today, the comic book movies. I mean, I've been watching movies based on comic book characters pretty much my entire life that I can remember. And I love them. I think, there's some great ones out there. There's some awful ones out there. But I think the reason that we like these movies so much is, and I was thinking about this, Sean and I were talking a little bit about this, Jenna. Let me know what you think. I think the reason why we like basically these superhero characters, the comic book characters in general, is because they all have had like some sort of horrific trauma early in their life that, whether it's like their parents dying or something like that. Most of them, their parents are dead. They're dead or have been murdered or whatever, but it's like it makes you kind of feel some sympathy for them.
Yeah, I could see that. I'm kind of in it for like the action.
Yeah.
I like that.
One thing about the parents getting killed, though, I think the Bruce Wayne getting the parents killed in every single movie and series on Batman, I think that's done overkill. I think we had enough of that.
And that's what I think one of the reasons why they keep doing that is those origin stories. Is that's why people, that's kind of what draws people in, is those origin stories for these characters, because that's how you get to know the character. I think, Jenna, you mentioned you like the action, and I think that's a huge draw for a lot of these movies. But for a lot of people like me, I like the characters. I like, so the most recent Batman movie that came out, the Batman, for me was really interesting, and it was great because of the character development, because you really kind of got into the head of the Batman. And
Oh, I agree. I liked how he was like the detective too.
Yeah, and that's a
That was
throwback to
nice.
the old Batman detective comic books.
yeah,
That was nice. I know a lot of people didn't enjoy that one, so it makes me happy that you guys did.
Oh, I thought it was excellent.
I
But
loved
I I go back to all the comic books. That's how I started when I was a kid, collecting all these comic books, and that's how I get into all these movies. But I see what Jen's saying with the action.
Yeah.
That's definitely a part of it. I mean, that's changed movies the way, Marvel movies are now, especially with the action.
Yeah. I mean, with all the effects and everything, the computer graphics and that stuff has changed just every movie. I mean, there's really no turning back now. I was looking at the list of comic book movies over the years. They actually go back to 1944. There was a Captain America movie that was released, which I have never seen, probably never will see. But I can't even imagine what that was. If you compare, there's no comparison between that movie. Then there was a Superman movie, which was George Reeves. I remember that series, the TV series. I'm sure you did too, Sean. I'm sure you used to watch that with George Reeves.
Yeah, I remember that. And of course, George Reeves committed suicide, right?
Yeah, that was a sad story. I think he kind of went nuts there at the end of his life, and
And that kind of started the Superman curse, right?
that's what they call it with so I mean that takes us to we could, I don't want to skip over the Batman, the Adam West Batman movie, the 1966 Batman movie. That was also from that TV series,
Right.
Adam West Award. Just, when you look at those, when you watch those shows now, I mean, when I was a kid watching those shows and that movie, it was like it was my hero on the screen. I couldn't believe it. But you watch them now and they're just like,
Well, I used to watch that with my uncle, when I was a kid, the Batman Adam West series. Did you ever see them, Jen? Did you see the reruns?
No. No.
I don't think you wouldn't like it. I mean,
No.
it's really silly and everything. But when you're a kid, it was,
Like
Well,
I'm
when you're-
super aware of it. Like, I've seen, like the clips on like TikTok or YouTube, but like I've never seen like an episode back to front.
Well, it was like a half hour, and every episode would end with them getting trapped by the villain,
right.
and then it would be for the next episode. It was set up like, how are they going to get out of this? And then, of course, they would get out of it in the next episode.
Okay.
But it was, I mean, it was beyond silly. But
Oh, it was ridiculous. But again, for us, Sean, I mean, we were what, 7, 8, 9 years old when those, when they
sure,
were showing those reruns, and it was
there was a rerun. By the time we were born, that series was off the air already.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I think it was only a couple of seasons.
Yeah, but they did a lot of episodes in a season, though.
Yeah.
Like
Oh
they
yeah.
didn't do like 20 episodes. They did like 50, 60
Right.
episodes in a season, Jen.
Right.
Like it was crazy. It's not like today some shows only get through 13, 15.
Yeah, that's a new development.
It used to be the standard used to be like 22, but it seems like a lot of shows can't hit that anymore, especially just like the HBO show like Sopranos was just like 13, like anything like that.
Yeah, I think the bigger budget shows, they're only going to do 10, 12, 13 episodes.
Yeah, oh man, that started in, I think the first show that I saw that with was like True Blood, because they were 13 episodes and then it got rolled back to 10 in like the later seasons. That was a good one.
And then one of the early movies, of course, was a Superman movie.
Right. So
In
that's
'78.
that's really the first one I saw in the theater. And I mean, that to me, and those movies, I think, they you hadn't really seen anything like that until those movies. Like they were as, cutting edge with the special effects and everything as you could get at that time. That was
At that time,
1978.
yeah,
And
definitely.
a live action Superman that didn't look like it was just, it was a guy with his arms up, laying in front of a screen that would go by. Like this actually looked like somebody flying through the air. It was amazing.
Now, Jen, you're a lot younger than me and Bill. When did you see that one?
Yeah, I
Okay.
definitely saw those. Definitely not like my favorite,
Sure.
but like going back, like the first Superman that I really remember is the Brandon Roth one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because like I'm looking at like the timeline and I probably didn't even start, like of course I saw like Batman, but like that came out in 89 and I was born in 89. So like I obviously didn't see that when I was quite young. So I'm looking at the timeline and like I think the first Superman movie that I saw in theaters was X-Men and then Spider-Man. So 2000 and 2002.
Okay.
Yeah.
And of course, Brandon Roth would go on to be in the Arrowverse
Yes.
in the series, and of course, he'd go on to Legends of Tomorrow.
Yes.
That Brandon Roth movie was, I think, underrated. I really enjoyed it. I know it
Yeah,
got
I didn't
destroyed.
hate it. I didn't
Yeah.
hate it.
Yeah, I don't think it was as bad as a lot of the critics blasted it.
Yeah.
Definitely didn't hate it.
So, but you had the Superman movies in the late 70s and 80s. I think 1 and 2 were really good. Then 3 and 4 kind of.
Yeah, I really like Superman 2, though.
I
really
did too.
liked it. I
Yeah,
thought that was really good.
the supervillain Zod and
Yeah, that was really good. And then, of course, then you go on to '89 was when the Batman movie came out.
and that was
That was huge.
That was great. I think that was my senior year, or I was going into. I think it came out the summer before my senior year of high school, and I just remember going to see that movie probably 5 or 6 times in the theater.
Yeah, that one was, I enjoyed that one.
And
It was really.
Go ahead, Bill.
Well, I was just gonna say it's really the first time that I remember a superhero movie, a comic book movie that was kind of darker. It had like a darker theme.
Yeah, Tim Burton
Yeah,
and Michael Keaton as Batman.
yeah,
Which is really how Batman's supposed to be if you're going to
Right.
be true to the comic books. The Adam West was so silly, the TV series, that was nothing like the comic books.
right. Yeah, Batman was, the Tim Burton movie was really a lot closer to the comic books that I had read than anything else that I had seen.
And then for me, the Batman movies after that were disappointing.
Yeah, I didn't like any of them.
Really?
Yeah,
Mm-mm.
I know Jen likes them, right, Jen? What was it, Batman and Robin?
Yeah, that one was Yeah,
Batman
Batman and
Forever.
Robin. Yep. Batman Forever was just like okay. Like I really liked Jim Carrey and Tommy Lee Jones, but then like I really liked Freeze in Batman and Robin. But like I like some of the newer Batmans more than I like those.
And of
Like
course, you had huge actors in it. I mean, Schwarzenegger and
yes, Clooney.
yeah,
But like when I think of Batman, like Christian Bale is my Batman.
yeah,
I
definitely.
love
Yeah.
those three
Well,
movies.
the trilogy did that was the best.
Mhm.
That was really good. I mean, they
And
were excellent.
and I still say to this day that the first one, Batman Begins, it's my favorite. I mean,
That's the one that I watch the most, to
Yeah.
be
Me
honest
too.
with you. Like I really like The Dark Knight, but I don't there's just something like if I'm not in the right mental capacity to watch that one, you know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
that one really like
The thing is, in Batman
gets to
Begins,
you.
I mean, Liam Neeson was just incredible as Ra's al Ghul.
Yes.
He was great. And then again, it's the origin story, right? That's going back to the origin story of Batman and how he started. And it's also for me, Batman should be like in the shadows. You don't want to see like it's almost like less is more,
Right.
and that movie, it was, there wasn't, I mean, Batman wasn't like in it a ton. It was a lot of, flashing capes and crouching and things like that. And that's to me, like that is as close to the comic books as you can get. That's what I really liked about it.
Yes.
Because when you get to the second one, as much as everybody loves it, The Dark Knight, to me it looked like a guy in a Batman costume, and it didn't have the same impact on me. And I think if you remember at that time, the hype with this movie was so amazing. Like there was just, I mean, it was 3 years after the original one. Everybody was saying Heath Ledger was going to win the Oscar, that, it was the greatest movie ever made.
And remember how they were
I
bashing him though when he was first
I'll
announced.
never forget that because I went through the same like not feelings, but like so I didn't like Ben Affleck as Batman. And then when they announced that Robert Pattinson was gonna be the Batman, I was like, ooh, I don't know how I feel about this. But then I'm like,
Yeah.
but look what happened with Heath Ledger, and everybody was like, absolutely not. And then it was fantastic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they were crushing him,
Hmm.
and he was great. But I even liked the third one too, though. I mean, I think they were all good, but the Bane was fantastic. I think,
Yes, I did like that one.
and that's what the thing is. Like all of them were good. All three of them were really good.
Yeah.
But if I had to pick one, it'd be Batman Begins.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Same here. Same here. So we skipped over a bunch. I mean, we had a lot of Spider-Man movies during that era. Of course, the whole, Tobey Maguire, all of those movies, and then we get into the
There was
Andrew.
also a Captain America movie in 1990. I don't remember that one.
I don't remember that one.
Jenna, did you ever see that one?
No.
It couldn't have been good because I don't even remember it at all.
I don't even recognize the stars or
The only one is
director.
Ned Beatty's the only actor I recognize,
And
I
he
think
was in Superman.
he was in
Mm.
Superman, of course, Rudy too, and then Ronnie Cox. I think wasn't he in um, the Eddie Murphy movies, Beverly Hills Cop?
Oh, okay. Now that
I
you
think
say
he was
that.
the police captain. I think that's Ronnie Cox.
Okay. I'll take your word on that one, Sean. I mean, I definitely saw Beverly Hills Cop, but I don't remember. I remember obviously Eddie Murphy and
That's just a classic. That movie's great.
oh, fantastic.
But
So
so go into the Spider-Mans.
yeah, we had three. Was it three of the Tobey Maguire Spider-Mans?
Yep.
Spider-Men.
Now, Jen, which
Yes.
Spider-Man do you like the best?
Like my top favorite,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Andrew Garfield.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Like I really like Toby's definitely like I don't know, they're all different in their own way, but Andrew Garfield comes out on top for me.
Yeah, I kind of like Tobey Maguire.
I liked his villains the most. Like to me, because so my I'm gonna call it my gateway drug to the Marvel comics was Saturday morning cartoons. So that was
Mhm.
like the X-Men and it
Right.
was Spider-Man. So like those are my like most near and dear to my heart.
And see, Jim, when me and Bill were younger, when we were kids, it was more DC than Marvel.
Right.
Mhm.
Wouldn't you agree with that, Bill?
Absolutely.
I mean,
We had the Super Friends, that Saturday morning cartoon. But I also remember there was the Spider-Man, I think it was the Adventures of Spider-Man or something, or the
right.
Amazing Spider-Man. It was something like that. The cartoon.
Yeah, and then there was a series too Spider-Man had too, though. Do you remember that?
I do, I do. That was
And then of course there was the Hulk series with Lou Ferrigno.
right, with Bill Bixby and Lou Ferrigno, which I
Right.
loved. And then but yeah, Jen, I think, with us too, like we definitely, those Saturday morning cartoons, and it's funny because my kids will never know that feeling of having to wait until Saturday morning
I
to watch
know.
cartoons. They
I
just
know. But
bring them
like
up whenever they want to on their iPad.
I'm 100% a fan of binge watching though. I am 100% a fan.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, there was no such thing as binge watching when we were kids, but
no, I
I wish
remember
there
when you used
was.
to watch like reruns every week or you'd have to wait for the reruns if you missed an episode.
Yeah.
There's no recording. Loved it.
And then of course in 2003 we had Daredevil. I know Jenna hates that movie.
Batman. Oh, not Batman. Batflick. I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not an Affleck fan. I'm just not.
Me neither. I'm with you there, Jen.
I think
So
Affleck is better. I think he was great in The Town.
Yeah.
Like that's
yeah,
the
like
movies.
that was good.
Yeah.
Colin Farrell was in this one.
See, I don't hate that movie like everybody else does. I could actually watch that. I think that movie was okay.
And that's the great thing about these movies is that, you don't have to, you can have your own opinion. You can like the ones you like and hate the ones you hate. And
But
Yes.
the series was way better. The series was incredible, I thought.
yeah,
And of course the Punisher series.
Like the Netflix ones? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It was really good.
I agree. I liked those.
And then after that was when the X-Men really came. The X-Men, the first one was in what, 2000, Jen?
Yeah, and then the X, I think they decided X2. It was
Mm-hmm.
2003. I saw that one in theaters too.
And you actually, Jen, you actually got me into that.
I loved that film. Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved the whole X-Men series. Like I think that was like a perfect casting and I really enjoyed the stories. I think like the third X-Men sort of lost its way a little bit. Like it
Mhm.
doesn't really fit with the first two, but that's all right. I have equal love for all of the X-Men movies.
And then we're
Yeah.
getting a little ahead, but I really got into when Arrow started, when the 1st
Mhm.
series with the Green Arrow with Stephen Amell. I mean, that really started. Then you had the Flash, and Legends of Tomorrow, and what other ones am I missing, Jen?
Supergirl, Black
Supergirl and
Lightning,
Black Lightning. You have Superman and Lois now. And
Stargirl.
Bill doesn't watch that, right? Bill, you don't watch the Superman and Lois?
I don't. So those are
I
all
feel like that's if you're
the
gonna watch
CW.
a CW show, Superman and Lois is the one to watch.
I agree. I
It's the
agree.
greatest.
It's really good, Bill, especially for somebody who loves Superman like you do.
Yeah.
You should really check that out. It's really good.
I guess I always assumed that those were like, like teeny bopper versions of Superman, which I could never get into, but I'll check that one out for sure.
No, it's a good storyline, and the writing is good, the acting is good, and I mean, I loved the Arrow series. I mean, that really got me back to comic books, and that was just really good. Did you watch that whole series, Bill? I know
No,
Jenna did.
I think I watched the first 2 seasons, maybe.
Okay. Well, season 2 I think was my favorite of that. Would you agree with that, Jen?
Yeah, that's a good one.
So then we start to get into what would become the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So we had the Fantastic Four, then Iron Man in 2008, and that was when Jon Favreau got involved, and they started making real movies, with budgets, and they really, they really invested a lot into them. They got big stars to cast in like Robert Downey Jr., who they took a chance on because at that time he had been in some trouble and kind of revived his career. But they got Gwyneth Paltrow and Jeff Bridges, and that's where that kind of turned a corner, I think, and really started the push that we see today, where these incredible big budget comic book movies.
Yes. I noticed you're skipping over one of my favorites, though. You guys not a fan of Hellboy?
Which one, Jen?
Hellboy.
Oh, Hellboy.
Oh, yeah, Hellboy.
I loved Hellboy 1 and 2.
Of course, and that's Perlman from Sons of Anarchy. Yeah.
Yeah, and Selma Blair. Hellboy is one of my. Now, this is definitely not. Hellboy it comes from the Dark Horse comics, so it's not Marvel or DC. So I don't know if you even want to classify it in with the big two, but I love Hellboy, and I'm still holding out for Hellboy and Sons for the third one. Still holding out for that.
So I think Dark Horse Comics also put out a Star Wars series, didn't they?
I believe they did.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like the next biggest besides Marvel and DC.
Yeah, I never got into Hellboy. Sorry, Jenna.
Good. That's
I
all
thought
right.
it was
It's good.
okay. I thought it was okay. And we also skipped over Ghost Rider too.
Oh,
That was in there in 2007.
I
Yeah,
liked the Ghost
2007.
Riders.
And another one, the Fantastic Four was in there. The first one now, not the one with Jessica
Alba and Chris Evans
and Michael Chiklis.
So I liked those. I
did too.
I didn't dislike those, but then like the latest remake of the Fantastic Four. I don't know if you guys saw that one. But that was awful.
Yeah, the reviews were just so bad, and people I talked to just said don't even waste your time. So I didn't watch any of it.
Yeah, it's awful.
And then of course we had the Green Lantern.
With Ryan Reynolds? I didn't hate that one. I don't
think it was as bad as people say, but they crushed it. But it doesn't matter because he's Deadpool.
Right.
Yes. 100%. I'm very excited for the next Deadpool. I don't know if you guys have seen the promos for it yet.
No, I haven't.
Hugh Jackman's coming back as Wolverine.
Nice.
So that's probably just gonna make my year.
Now, what of the X-Men, Jim? What is your favorite one? The original?
So I like the originals. They have great casting, but I also like. So they also did. I don't know if we should call it's like the newer one. So like there was like X-Men First Class and Apocalypse and then Dark Phoenix. I also liked those. Definitely the originals are my top choice. Like 1 and 2 are my top choice. But I also didn't dislike the Wolverine or Logan. Like I like them, most of them very much. But some of the newer ones are kind of strange. Like Dark Phoenix was kind of strange.
Okay.
And that was the one with what's
Sophie
her name
Turner.
from Game of Thrones? Yeah.
She was great. She's a great Jean Grey. It's just the story of the Dark Phoenix. It just didn't get it for me. Do you know what I mean? So.
Yeah, I was into the X-Men comics, I think, a lot more than I got into the movies. I don't think I saw most of the movies. I think I may have seen just 1 or 2 of them. But I love when I was a kid, I loved the X-Men comics. That was one of my favorites. I don't know why I never got into the movies. I just didn't.
I've seen the comics. I mean, I've read the comics. I've seen all of the shows, the spin-off shows, the movies. X-Men is probably, it's like between X-Men and Spider-Man, they're definitely like my top originals. So
What about you, Sean? Did you ever get into X-Men?
Well, actually, it was Jenna got me into it. It was
Okay.
Yeah.
Jenna. I probably wouldn't have watched it if Jenna didn't get me into it. And
Yeah.
and yeah, I mean, I did I did, the comic books I did read, when I was a kid. But I really wasn't gonna watch any of the movies. I really wasn't into it. So Jenna got me into it, and they were really good.
Yeah.
And then you have, your Marvel Cinematic Universe,
Yeah. So that
your,
it kind of
your Thors, your Iron Mans.
Iron Man, Captain America kind of got started around that time, right? The early 2010, it really kind of kicked in with all those different movies, and they started planning the different releases and how they were going to all come together. And then, of course, you had the Avengers movie come out in 2012.
Now, Jen, if you had to rank them, how would you rank them?
Like the MCU films,
Yeah, like if you had to pick your
Um,
top three.
my top three. So Iron Man's definitely in there. Like the first Iron Man. I also really, really, really enjoyed Captain America the Winter Soldier. Like, if that's one movie that I could watch for the first time again, that would be it. Um, I loved that one. I also loved like the first Avengers, and I like Thor Ragnarok is probably it's one of my tops. I really liked that one too. So those are probably like my top four.
Yeah, for me, I would agree with that. I think the Infinity War and Endgame, I love those two. And then, from like just an entertainment standpoint, Guardians of the Galaxy, I think
I
all of
love Guardians.
them,
Yeah,
they're just so good.
they're fun.
Yeah.
I got to be honest with you, it's hard for me to come up with a top three. Because it'll change. It's fluid for me.
Yeah.
I like so many of them, and it just goes back and forth with some of them.
And I think the other thing is with Disney Plus, with those series that come out, they kind of spark different interests. Like when oh, I can't think of the name of the
WandaVision?
WandaVision?
WandaVision. Thank you. When WandaVision came out, that kind of rekindled my
Right.
interest in some of those movies. Like you want to go back and see, those movies where kind of tells her origin story. So
And I thought those were really good. I mean, I like WandaVision. I liked Loki.
yeah, and that it kind of shines some new light on those movies too.
Definitely.
Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah, for
Which
sure.
one, Jen? How would you rank those? Which ones would you like? Which one's your favorite?
Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah, that was really good.
That one's my favorite.
Of
But I
course,
think
that's your favorite character, right? One of your
Bucky
favorites?
Barnes, yeah, he's one
Yeah.
of my favorites. He's like one of my new school favorites, but like Thor and Iron Man are probably my favorite OGs. So yeah.
my favorite OGs would be like Batman and Superman, but that goes all the way back. That. So I'm not a huge fan of the newer DC movies with Batman and Superman. Like I'm not, as I said, I'm not an Affleck fan. I thought he was
Nope.
terrible as Batman, and I was so excited for the Man of Steel, and I was so let down by it.
I didn't hate the Man of Steel. I didn't hate it.
For me, it was just way too. It was just too much. I think it just tried to do way too much, and again, I'm coming from the Superman movies from the 70s and 80s, where the special effects were, you were happy just to see a guy flying through the air. I just thought it was overkill with the Man of Steel, but I think I enjoyed it up to a certain point. And then once it got to like where it was, where they were destroying the whole world, it was like, okay, here we go.
I liked some of like I do like some of like the new school Marvel characters. Like I really like Yelena, Natasha's sister, and Bucky, and I'm really excited for the Thunderbolts movie. I think that's going to be really good.
So, Jen, if you're definitely Marvel over DC. There's no doubt about it.
No doubt about it. Yeah.
See, I go. Bill's probably gonna go the same. I'm DC over Marvel.
So there's one DC though that will always hold my love, and they can never do any wrongdoing, and that's my favorite DC is the Teen Titans. And if you haven't seen Titans on HBO Max, it's fantastic. Love it.
I actually only seen a couple episodes.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Titans are
s-
definitely my favorite.
My son loves the Teen Titans.
Yeah,
He's really into
absolutely. It's 100% correct. It's
it.
great.
Yeah.
Like I've never seen the what is it like the Teen Titans Go, like the little miniature guys. I've never seen that series, but when I was in high school, like just Teen Titans on Cartoon Network was one of my favorites. So yeah, they're all on HBO Max right now.
Now, if you
Now, what
ask
did
me
you-
who, go ahead, Bill.
What did you guys think of the Wonder Woman?
Loved it.
movies?
I
The
liked
second
it.
one was just okay, but the first one, like I really thought put some shine back into DC.
Yeah, I thought it was really good.
And again, Sean, going back to our childhood, I mean,
That's a
Linda
series.
Carter was,
Linda Carter. Yeah.
She makes
Every
some
kid liked Linda
cameos.
Carter. Yeah.
yeah.
I know who she is.
Me and Bill definitely know who she is.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But if you ask me who my favorite like all-time superhero is, it'll probably either be Batman or Green Arrow.
Okay.
Those are my two. I love the Green Arrow series.
I thought
That
it was
was-
good
that was
until they
awesome.
started
Well, at
dealing
the
with
end it got a little
relationship
bit.
drama. I was over it at that point.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's tough to keep a show going though. What did it end up? 8 seasons?
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, we talk about that all the time, Bill.
hmm
This series, I mean, it's hard to keep it going really after like 3-4 seasons. It starts to go down a little bit.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you usually hit your stride, like season 2, season 3, and then if you can keep it going past that, then you've got a hit show. But it's tough to do.
I would really like to see them bring the Green Arrow character into the movies. Is there plans to do that, Jen?
That I'm not sure of because I know that like DC's kind of in trouble right now with everything that's going on with Ezra Miller, who's
Yeah, the Flash.
yeah. So I don't know. Also Amber Heard and like the new Aquaman. So
Yeah.
I think DC's kind of on hold right now because they keep pushing everything back, and like I feel like it's gonna get to a point where people are just like, all right, I guess. They're just not pushing out content as quickly as people would like.
What's missing from this list is the Batman. It's not on here.
Like the newest one?
Oh, the newest
Yeah.
one, yeah.
Yeah,
It's not on there.
here. Oh, it is. It is. I'm sorry. It's down here.
Is it?
It's not in.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
Yeah, for some reason it's not in chronological order,
Okay.
but I do see it. I really wanted to like Aquaman. I really did because I love Jason Momoa, but
I didn't hate it. It was okay.
I didn't.
That was
like it.
okay.
Just all right for me. Will I see the next one? Probably.
Well, that's the
Probably.
thing. You're always going to see them just to see, right? Just to see if you like it or not.
Yeah, like I had such high hopes for Thor Love and Thunder, and I was like a little bit disappointed when I saw it. Like I didn't hate it, but I'm just kind of like, this isn't your typical like Thor movie.
Well,
So
it
I
got
guess
hammered. I didn't see it yet, but it got hammered pretty good.
It did.
with
It
the
did.
reviews.
It did. But I don't know. I really like Taika Waititi, so I hope he's got,
What's your feeling on the Rock's movie coming up, Black Adam?
Black Adam. I'll see that for sure. I like The Rock.
Yeah,
I'll support his work.
and that's coming. That should be out this weekend, right? Or is it in 2 weeks?
I don't even know. Like I've had my head so like buried in school, so I don't even know when things are coming out. I don't know why, but I assumed it was like closer to Thanksgiving because they always
you
do
might
like
be right.
fall releases, but I could just be making that up at the top of my head. Oh yeah, you're right. October 21st. Yeah, it's
Okay.
the end of the month. Wow. I think that'll be good.
So we'll wrap up here, but let me ask you guys one question before we kind of check out of here, and that is,
Yeah.
if you could see one, like if you could pick an actor, could be any actor, living or dead, to play a superhero, who would it be? Like, who would the actor be, and who would the superhero be?
I got one.
Go
Go
ahead.
ahead,
You can
Jen.
go first, Sean.
Well, I always, and I think I told you this before, Jen. I think Shamar Moore from SWAT, and he was on Criminal Minds. I think he should be in like the movie, like a blockbuster movie.
Yes.
Like I think he would kill it. He would kill it. So pick a superhero and put him in it, and then give him that role with the big action blockbuster summer movie, and I think he'd kill that role.
So I have two, and one of them already happened, and I've heard rumors that we are getting a second film, but my first is Keanu Reeves as Constantine, which, we already have the first movie, and I'm really hoping that they make a second, and there's rumors that it's going to happen because Keanu Reeves was on one of the late night talk shows, and they asked him like, oh, well, what's a movie you'd really like to make another one of? And he was like, Constantine. So then they're like, oh, all right, if he wants to do it, then we'll do it.
Nice.
So, but
right.
Keanu Reeves, and then my other favorite casting actually happened in the Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. So I had one wish, and I really wanted to see John Krasinski as Reed Richards, and that actually happened, and it's going to happen in the Fantastic Four movie coming in phase 4 or 5 of Marvel.
And John Krasinski, you're talking from The Office, that plays Jack Ryan?
Yes. Okay. I wanted him, and I really would have liked his wife Emily Blunt to play Sue Storms, but that's also not happening. So that would have been my fan castings.
Well, let's throw that back at you, Bill. What would yours be?
So for me, it's actually a super villain.
Okay.
So
okay.
I would love to see Michael Emerson from Lost and from Person of Interest.
Oh, he's great.
I'd love to see him play like the Penguin, or some kind of a super villain.
Oh, he would totally fit that.
Yeah,
he would.
I'd love to see him in one of those movies.
Yeah, the Penguin. I can see him playing the Penguin.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
He kind of looks like the guy that played Oswald Cobblepot on Gotham, Sean.
He does.
He kind of looks like him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that guy was just on Law and Order Organized Crime. The guy that plays yeah.
Okay.
But Michael Emerson, there was I don't know if you guys watched the series The Practice.
No.
It was in the late 90s, I believe.
Yeah, I used to watch that.
It was about a Boston law firm, and Michael Emerson was on there. That's the first time I seen him. He played a serial killer, and they were defending him, and he was saying he was innocent, and he turned out to be the serial killer. But he was so good in that role. It was incredible. That's the first time I seen him, and I said, this guy's a tremendous actor.
And he was so good in Lost and Person of Interest. Those two roles, I think were fantastic for him.
Yeah, he's incredible.
All right, guys. Well, we're going to wrap up. Thank you, Jenna, so much. This was
thank you for having me. I'll come back.
Yeah, definitely, Jen. You're welcome anytime. Thanks again.
And we're gonna do a House of the Dragon podcast. So
yes,
maybe we'll do that like a sort of because I know Sean's not a Game of Thrones guy, and you said Matt's not a Game of Thrones guy.
No.
So maybe, Jenna, we'll do that, and then we'll release it on this feed and the Garlic Jar feed.
We can do a joint.
Yeah, if that's agreeable to everybody involved, we can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Well.
Nice.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. Don't forget, again, to find us. We are on Apple Podcasts. We are on Spotify, Amazon, Google, basically wherever you can find podcasts. Make sure.
And YouTube.
And YouTube, where we've got a YouTube channel
Nice.
where you can find all of our episodes. We don't do video yet, but maybe at some point we will. Maybe at some point we'll do a live show. Who knows? If we get enough requests for that, we'll at some point do a live show. But we'll be on YouTube if you look for us. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all those other things. So make sure you find our podcast, give us a 5-star rating and a good review, and make sure you subscribe so you can get all the most recent episodes in your podcast feed. And then if you need to get in touch with us, or if you want to get in touch with us, tell us how much you love us, or maybe you don't love us as much.
We welcome all feedback.
All feedback, but you can email us at that'senoughoutoyou@gmail.com. So for Sean, for Jenna, I'm Bill Rader, and that's enough out of you.